Art of War.
And we believe in creating a community where people can talk about, learn, and improve their skills at Warhammer 40K.
Our channel has live stream competitive matches of 40K played by the best players in the world.
And we focus on teaching you how to get better at Warhammer while also emphasizing sportsmanship and engagement with our audience.
We strive to play every faction in the game to a top level, while also using a variety of lists to show off different playstyles for every faction.
We also offer a variety of other videos such as codex reviews, faction rankings, and tactics videos.
When you join our channel, you become part of our community, where we emphasize learning and positive conversation about competitive 40K.
You get early access to our videos, sub badges, emotes, as well as rewatch those hangout and hobby sessions.
Joining our community is a great way for you to show your support for us, so we can keep making awesome videos for you and continuously expand the bounds of competitive 40K.
Hello everybody! Welcome to the Art of War. We are here for another wonderful Hangout and Hobby session. I'm John Lennon. This is Richard Siegler.
Yes, indeed.
We are
Unstoppable
here
Destroyer with the All-Seeing Annihilator.
as it should be.
As it should be.
Alright, I heard that a lot of you had emotional trauma after watching Nick build last paint stream, so don't worry. I'm here.
John is here. He's going to show us some painting skills and maybe a little building as well.
Just painting today, actually.
Just painting, no building.
Painting. Did a lot of building last night. I think we're ready to paint.
Interesting stuff for the AdMech. Interesting stuff indeed. Mars is looking awfully powerful with some updated canicals because they can give it to Skitarii units.
Yeah, that all of a
Benefits
sudden looks pretty
doctrines.
good.
The Doctrinas, they're really...
Yeah, you didn't play in 7th when they had the
I
Doctrine
didn't.
Imperatives.
I did not.
It was
so
pretty cool.
Those things look cool.
Definitely a very nice touch for yield AdMech here.
I will gladly reduce my movement to get some extra defense when needed. I will also decrease my weapon skill, get some extra ballistic skill.
Mm-hmm. Now in 7th, you had the option to do either or, where you could also increase your weapon skill and decrease your ballistic skill. So when the time comes, perhaps on some Rust Stalkers, I think it's a fair compromise.
Certainly with the extra AP that they've been given. Thoughts on the canicals and the doctrines that have been shown on Warhammer Community? I think all of them seemed, all of them are useful straight up. So they didn't preview a Litany of the Electromancer just yet. I'm glad to see it.
Goodness only knows how broken that will be.
But,
It's hard to imagine, really.
straight up better Old Master Artisans. I will take it. Reroll a hit, wound, and damage roll.
Yeah, that is hit, wound, and damage.
Cannot disagree with that. That is amazing, especially on these brand new las cannons. When you really need that 6 damage to go through, get a free reroll on that.
Oh boy, I'm surprised actually that they put that in there, not just like one of those.
Yeah, slapped them all together.
Slapped them all together.
That's
We,
gonna be
they
good.
definitely admitted that it was too powerful to do a hit and a wound as a
And they've taken away from everybody.
tactic, and
They
they have been taking it away from everyone except Craft World Eldar. But that's okay. Craft World Eldar,
They have to have
you gotta be Eldar.
the
Yeah.
best rules. But yeah, love that. Rerolling advances is probably the weakest one so far, but it's when you need to get to an objective,
Well, it's roll a dice to take the highest, right?
you roll 2 dice, pick the
Yeah.
highest.
I mean, it's not bad on charges either, really. If that's the worst one though, you're in good shape.
Yeah, that might, it's still very useful when you need to really get there.
Exactly. Late game, turn 5, I could see myself really wanting to have that.
And then the doctrines, they're very solid from what we've seen. I can't disagree with the ones that they previewed.
Yeah, everything
Those
looks
look great.
pretty good, pretty
So-
solid for AdMech.
If none of those, but whether canicals or doctrines, are not the best ones, like wow, gonna be awesome. And we'll see how AdMech accesses them and what actually benefits, what doesn't.
Yeah. I wonder if this is going to be something that you have to be pure AdMech to access, or...
I would hope so. I like the pure army buffs.
I do as well. They've been pretty fitting so far.
Really, the each book should be a contained thing where you can really build around those particular synergies and not have to worry about other rules that could potentially stack on them, which gets you
Exactly.
into broken stuff. That
Gets you in trouble.
Gets you into Inari. How's it going, Christian? Welcome. I remember you said you had some questions yesterday during the stream game for John, but didn't want to distract the game with them, so
Which Christian is this?
that is Christian Almarago,
All right, let us know.
or Almagro. Christian, let us know what your questions are. Timothy Whitescar's question, if I use Fierce Rivalries and the charge fails, can I CP reroll still? And if so, I roll 2 or 3 dice.
You would reroll the entire roll. So if you use Fierce Rivalries and you have to reroll it, you reroll all 3 dice.
Talk about efficiency.
Pretty good combo
Hard to
there.
fail those charges, but John, have you ever managed to do
I have pulled it off.
You pulled it off?
Which, yep, but dice happen sometimes, but that's okay. That's so we just build as much in as possible, and if it fails, we go back to plan B.
John, you were missed. You talked about taking the Manticores out of list due to Dukari. What guard stuff would you take instead, if any?
Transports, chimeras with heavy flamers, more
Chimeras.
plasma guns, more
Like it.
stuff, cheap units,
Board control. Get the
more
point.
board control and points. Yep. Maybe cut out some scions. Who knows? Or depending on the ally, like if I was doing sisters, I may just reinvest it into more cheap sisters units.
Yeah. What are you going to be working on today, John?
I am today painting Deathwatch. We previously saw me airbrush, paint and airbrush Redemptor Dreadnought. However, one of our dear good friends, Frosty Forge, has been trying to sell me on the merits of going back and doing an edge highlight over the airbrush. So I think that's what we're going to start with today. I also just finished airbrushing some Deathwatch infantry, so I'm probably going to spend the second half of this paint stream doing some detail work on that. So let's actually put this onto the camera, and also Mr. Richard.
Yeah.
This right side here is just airbrush. This left side is the edge highlight.
That's beautiful.
Left,
Yeah.
right?
The left.
Left, yeah, okay.
It does stand out.
That's what I want. We'll put this one up here.
This is a darn good looking dreadnought.
We are trying to get there, folks. Let's see. I'm waiting for it to pop up. Can you pop up? Yes, so
Yeah,
I
I
can see
can
what this
pull it
looks
up, yes.
like.
He's looking great. Like, I mean, look at that Redemptor. That's a
this is
champion. And
handsome-
look at that Blood Angel symbol.
I did put a Blood Angel symbol on there just for Mr. Siegs.
Beautiful. Love it.
You know, you gotta.
You want your aggressive Marines in the.
Well, you gotta respect your battle brother.
You wouldn't put a Son of Colgate in there though.
Absolutely not. I am going to put a Son of Colgate in the Deathwatch army.
Can he be?
I was thinking he was gonna be like the combat shield guy. You know, the first one to die. What is my purpose? Your purpose is to stand in light cover.
Instead, can
Aw.
the Servitor Squad hold the Sons of Colgate symbol?
I could, yeah. Since Nick, I asked Nick about this actually, and he says that he doesn't have a logo on his chapter. And I'm like, okay. So I was thinking I might do like a pink flamingo, get some really nice contrast.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'll have to paint it in flight.
You got it.
Maybe that'll be like my ancient. That'll have a Sons of Colgate banner,
Perfect.
the little flamingo just.
Somebody had mentioned the
Gracefully.
little plastic flamingos. If they, I don't know if we ever got an email about that.
I would absolutely love to see that.
Let's see. What do we got? Well, do you remember the Canticles only affect Cult Mechanica stuff unless you're Mars? That's why I'm saying Mars.
Yeah,
Mars is looking just straight up powerful with putting that on hopefully everything. Who
Mhm.
knows?
Yeah, it's hard to think of what will not be Skitaria or Cult Mechanicus.
Yeah,
Like
well,
literally
servitors.
just the basic servitors.
Yeah.
But the Cataphrons should be Cult Mech.
Hopefully. Is running as many dreads as possible in Deathwatch really the best way to play them? Isn't the supplement supposed to revolve around the kill team?
It is definitely supposed to revolve around the kill team.
It's supposed to.
It is definitely supposed to. However, I don't think that is going to be the only strength of Deathwatch. I really like their different buffs to Dreadnoughts. But don't worry. Do not worry. I will also have kill teams in my Deathwatch list guaranteed. That's what I was just
still
painting.
want troops, 100%.
You still want kill teams. Don't you worry, folks. There will be kill teams.
But yeah,
I just think that Dreadnoughts right now are in a good spot in the meta, and they benefit a lot from Deathwatch rules, which is one of the reasons why I'm painting the army up now. Let's see here.
Do you think Mars is the strongest that we've seen? Mars and Metallic, I think. Ryza seems quite
Yeah.
interesting, but it depends on what other
Rise,
melee buffs are.
Rise is definitely in the top 3, but I think it's the third.
I think Mars and Metallica,
Thing
which
is,
it honestly isn't surprising.
Unfortunately, Graia was the only one that didn't impress me.
Yeah,
Everything,
got straight up nerfed.
everything that I saw was like you know what? There's some merit here. That's cool. I could see this. And then Graia, I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, this stratagem, which was already kind of niche, got nerfed by 6 inches. It's
And their trait,
it's just not.
it's not as good
impressive.
as it used to be, because it used to be just against any damage, you roll a 6, you survive.
Yeah, now it's a 5-up and only mortal wound.
Yeah. And you weren't seeing Graia, so they would need amazing stuff to be C-play.
Yeah,
But-
which I don't know what we haven't seen from that. I don't think we've seen the relic yet. So there's room for it still, but that's okay. Not every Forge World has to be viable.
Yeah. As long as there's like 3-4 different builds, that's good enough for me.
That's ideal for any codex.
Get some new paper on that web palette, John. Looking like a Nick palette.
We were running low there.
Oh.
It's something we need to order. We'll have to talk to our friends at the Army Painter soon and see if we can get this replaced. I agree. This is it's a little sloppy looking.
Looking like a Nick palette. Wow.
That's a little harsh.
Went straight for the throat there. FLG, a friendly local gaming store, is hosting a 500-point patrol-only tournament. What Space Marines chapter would you take?
What size table is that played on?
Is it a 20 by 30?
I don't know. It's probably small.
Pretty small.
500 points patrol. What do I put in a 500-point patrol? That's a great question.
2 Relic Contemptors.
No. Crazy. I think that's a melee marine kind of thing.
Yeah.
Usually those smaller boards favor fast melee armies a lot.
Or stuff that's just too durable to kill at that point, level efficient.
That's true. Maybe Dark Angels. Just like a 5-man Terminator squad and like a Talonmaster. That could be pretty.
I had a client win a 1,000-point tournament with Necrons. It's just like, oh, you can't kill 60 warriors. Awesome. Just reanimate onto every objective and
all the time.
Turn 2.
Oh no.
Because of the smaller board size. So I would board control is going to be key here. So something like White Scars are too durable to kill like Dark Angels is probably what you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
Just that you need extra efficiency. Like Dark Angels, they pay the same points for the Terminators, but they're just infinitely more durable. That's kind of what you're looking for, is max out on efficiency here. There's no like fluff options.
It's a pity that you can't take Guilliman.
No.
Guilliman and Intercessor Squad.
He doesn't fit in a patrol, unfortunately, John.
It's a pity. That's a pity right there.
Got a sneak peek of the list being fielded tomorrow. We got some Mortal Wounds Spam Chaos up against my Tau list, which is going to feature this man right here, Shazo Raleigh.
Shazo Raleigh.
So that's what I'm painting right now in the background. Working on his shield right now.
Very nice. And then in the War Room, for those of you who are in the War Room, and for those of you who are not, maybe check it out. For those of you in the War Room, we're going to be doing a very special War Room match here. A little bit different from the normal format.
Oh, yeah.
We are putting Mr. Nick Donavati through the Dark Eldar Ringer.
We have the Atlantic City Open coming up very shortly for all of us.
Lists are doing like just over a week.
Yep, they are due next week. So we need to put those tests to the list.
List to the test.
List to the test. And Nick's Drukari is first up. And John is going to throw some Smashing Ultramarines into them.
Yes, I am.
And I am going to put my 6-flyer Metallica build into them.
Yep. We're going to do test games instead of like a full 5-game battle.
Yeah, we're going to play like 2-3 turns and just see what happens and then talk about adjustments that may need to be made.
Yeah. And we'll kind of talk about how we prepare for a tournament. Because we think that'll be really useful for our viewers.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is literally just how we would practice. Whenever we were getting for like LVO last year, the last real super major that we got ready for as a team, where we would take like the Breviathan list and we would put it into different things. We just do about 2 or 3 turns, just kind of enough to see what the game was like, and then we would re-rack, and that let us get a lot of practice in, without having to worry about the time.
You need to know if something playable.
Yeah. And
if it's not, what changes do I need to make it playable? And if it's not, I probably shouldn't be taking this army.
Exactly. If it's not playable, then you got to look at like, is this something that's so rare that I can get away with it? There's a lot of discussion to be had. So we'll be going through all of that tonight in the Art of War Room.
How many people are going to run 6-flyer Metallica build? Probably not a ton.
But there may be a couple.
Yeah.
Like I think you can safely say that no one's going to bring 27 Screamers of Tzeentch. If that's your hard counter, I'd be willing to accept it.
Yeah.
But like Metallica Flyers, that's you're not going to see 0 of those.
Yeah. It could also be Mars Flyers, etc. Metallica just have so much jank when they get close to you, turning off rerolls.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Here come your 5 Vanguard vets.
I don't think so.
No rerolls. We got $5 super chat from the wonderful Kyle Norman, who requested yesterday's stream match. Thank you so much, Kyle. He says, would you put Morty in a team tournament Death Guard list?
Team tournament?
Team tournament. You're testing John's resolve here because Morty,
I love team tournaments.
and he doesn't love Morty.
Okay, but I like Morty with, what's it called? With Warp Time. I don't know if I'd put him in a Death Guard list, but I would put him in a Chaos list. Which is unfortunate that Mortarion Primarch of the Death Guard is not very good in Death Guard. But, blame GW?
We really want him to be allied in.
Honestly, yeah. I think, something like Mark Perry's list is actually very, I think it's even better in team format than it is in singles. Just because, there's a list of people who can deal with Morty, and there's a list of people who can't.
But if you were running 5 lists right now, one of them would have Morty.
No.
Cool. We got there. Would it be something John would consider? 100%.
I would be very willing to have that conversation ahead of a team tournament. Final draft? Probably not.
It's because he does have some bad matchups, and you don't want to have too many lists with actual bad matchups.
Exactly, because then it puts a lot of pressure on the pairings to avoid them.
Yep.
And if you have too many people trying to avoid, it's just too many balls to juggle.
Yeah. And your opponents can play around that.
Exactly.
Don't want to give people advantage.
And if they have 2 counters to Morty, they can hard pair into it, and there's nothing you can do to stop it if they're willing to make other sacrifices to get there.
We've been there.
Yeah, we have. Like the last ATC, I managed to put Nick into between 2 flyer lists.
You don't want to play flyers? Pick one of the 2 flyer lists.
Like I don't care.
Is the AdMech book going to be legal for ACO? No, their rules cutoff was on the 14th, unfortunately. It would have been if Games Workshop was on schedule, but they weren't. And so that has killed. We are playing with a March meta here, which is not my favorite thing to be doing.
Indeed. Is that why you're painting up some Tau?
That is why I'm... No.
No?
No.
No? No?
Leave my Tau.
There are so many edges on this Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Edge highlighting. He has more than 0. Many edges on this Dreadnought.
Dreadnought looks good. It does indeed. I honestly think this is John's best painted model. Period.
Best painted so far.
Yeah, so far.
I like that free blade.
I like the free blade as well. I think this is even better. Not to say the free blade isn't good.
Yeah.
The knights look very good.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Coming
for that Renaissance, man.
Seeks, if you consider running Lich Guard in your custom dynasty list, the barge seem like a liability. So, Lich Guard, they could work as just a durable thing. The problem is they're basically the same speed as warriors, and I don't need more stuff in that kind of speed threat range. And I don't actually really need the additional melee, the counter assault. I'm just trying to survive through their turn and deny points. So what do I want instead? I went with the barges because I wanted speed. I wanted a unit that can move into the other half of the board, make a charge, get an objective. It's OBSEC, take off my opponent's, take down their primary or banners if they raised ones, stuff like that. So I wanted something relatively cheap, which those Annihilation barges are, and something that's fast enough to get up there in front of the warriors. So that's why I went with them. They're not really there for damage. Lich Guards certainly do more damage than them, but they're going to be stuck behind your warriors for a while, unfortunately. And because you're running custom dynasty, you're not stacking a lot of buffs on them, so they still don't hit amazingly hard like the Novak warriors with the Silent King. So I would honestly save the points. I also don't think they trade efficiently into Drukhari.
That's a big one right there. That is important.
I don't want a liability unit like that. Whereas quantum shielding vehicles are actually, pretty darn annoying to kill for Drukhari. Especially the Ghost Ark. Ghost Ark is a hero.
Ghost Ark never dies except for the Dreadnought.
What do you guys think of the Iron Warriors Obliterators with Mark of Slaanesh?
So I think just to clarify here, I'm pretty sure that the buff is that you have like a stratagem to reroll the D3 for the strength, AP, and damage on them. That definitely makes them more reliable. I like Iron Warriors Obliterators better than any others, especially because with variable AP, ignoring cover really adds up. But even with that, I feel like Obliterators are a little too expensive right now. However, if you want to run Iron Warriors, I would say Obliterators are worth it. It's just that question of, if you're playing Chaos Space Marines right now, since they're not in a great spot overall, but honestly, they're not terrible either. So I think if you're running Iron Warriors, I say the Obliterators go in.
Ooh. Obliterators are in if you're running Iron Warriors.
I mean, Iron Warriors are my favorite Chaos Legion.
But Obliterators.
I actually
Nick
love
is-
obliterators.
Nick is gonna have an aneurysm.
He
hearing
will, yeah.
Obliterators.
Nick is in another room and he doesn't understand why he's switching. Not only do we have mail, but also I can hear that our refrigerator's open. I'm going to go do that. to be
Both of
honest.
those are important.
Both of those are important.
I'll skip Christian. I'll go back to your question in just a second. I played Necrons and running a Silent King, Void Dragon, Transcendent Catan list in a month-long tournament. Won my first game versus Orcs, but do you think I have a shot for stronger armies? I'm gonna be honest. I think you're putting way too many points into only a couple models. So your board control is weakened, and just having stuff all over the board, which is what Necrons do well. They can trade cheap OBSEC stuff for opponents' points and just reduce their overall score that they could potentially get. Having things like Double Catan and the Silent King, that's a lot of points in only single entity models. The other thing is the Silent King doesn't buff the Catan in any way. So he doesn't. All the synergies you're paying for with the Silent King are not benefiting those Catan. And I think if you run the Silent King, it's just almost everything that list needs to interact with the Silent King, so you get the actual efficiency out of him.
You know what my favorite unit is for interacting with the Silent King? The Volkite Contemptor Dreadnought with the Seal of Oath. He interacts with the Silent King
I
so
would still
hard.
make every save. It would be
No,
irritating to you.
it would be, but I would just do enough mortals that he would die. I just need to do 16 mortals.
Plus the Minears.
No, the Minears can fail saves. They'll only fail like 25% of them, but you know, we'll get there. The Silent King, though, 16 mortals required. It's not a 6 where you roll it, but you need more mortals.
The Silent King is a champion. He just likes being the hero who maxes code of combat every game.
He usually does do that. He's pretty annoying.
He's just like, I'm gonna max 15 secondary points for you, no problem.
No problem.
I miss that guy. Maybe we should get him back.
I mean, your Silent King's pretty bad. He's a bad man.
He's a bad,
Get him
bad
back in
man.
there. Bad man.
Maybe we could put him into orcs.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Especially 6 win-back guns. That's where we want.
I just have to make the invuln. Is John the hardest working man in 40k? Quite possibly.
Oh,
Possibly.
I'm just doing my job. Over here.
Industrious.
There's a lot to paint. There's always a lot to
There-
paint.
and
Someone's got to do
New
it.
sisters are coming. So
Yeah, I'm trying to.
John's got to get the death watch out of the way so the new sisters are on the paint table.
That is exactly what I want. I want to be done with this before the sisters come out.
Hey John, what do you think about splashing some? Hold on, Christian had a question, then I will come back to that one. John, what are you thinking of changing to a Horde approach due to the increase of D3 plus 3 damage weapons? Are Demon monsters in a bad spot? Also, thoughts on the Gene Stealers?
I definitely think that a more Horde approach for Tyranids is going to be the better way forward because of the change in the meta right now. However, I'm really not sure on the Gene Stealers yet. They were not bad. It's just like for the points, they kind of have to be good, and they were definitely like they weren't bad. I think they were worth it overall, but also that's in a very specific matchup where they're literally at their best. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to invest that many points to Gene Stealers in the future, but they were kind of cool for what they did.
They were fun.
They were definitely fun.
Not as fun as the Ripper Swarms. but-
Literally not. Those Ripper Swarms, God, you had failed one Feel No Pain. Just one more Feel No Pain.
Nick was one Feel No Pain away from not going to ACO.
That
on
would
his
have
own
been
word.
incredible.
What was it? 3 hits, 3 wounds.
3 hits, 3 wounds, 3 field saves, and then he made one of his 3 Feel No Pains.
God, why do they have a 5 up? It should be 6 up.
I know. If it had been a 6 up, he would have run away.
And then Matt O's question, John, what do you think about splashing some Valor's Heart units into Sisters to increase the toughness on the troops and perhaps the vehicles? Make the 5 lady squads a bit harder to pick up.
I still personally do not rate Valorous Heart very highly, because I feel like people will find a way to kill it. And it's also actually difficult to keep everyone in the Magifier range while still being useful.
It's not even that hard.
It's not that hard.
You don't even have to kill them though. You can tar pit them so easily.
That's the other thing.
They're awful in combat.
Yeah, I'm
Do
a
Sisters have
big
ways
fan.
to fall back and shoot?
They have a 2 CP.
Okay, well you're not spending that on basic Sister Squad.
No, that's a Retributor or maybe an Exorcist.
Yeah.
If you took one. So for me, I can't quite. Yeah, this edge highlighting is actually really good.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
looking really good.
Okay, this is the right decision. Fine. Frosty Forge, if you're here, you were right.
You were right.
You were right. Frosty Forge is my my painting sensei.
And did you answer the question about the big monsters and Democarons?
Yeah. More hordes, less.
More
big
hordes,
monsters.
yeah.
I don't like that answer, but it's.
Like with Admech coming with last kind
I
of
know,
it's like,
yeah.
oh, you can't afford to go second here.
Tyrannod's pretty good in team tournaments, I think.
They'll definitely catch people off guard. And I mean, they play the mission so well.
They do.
And
They're
they can
very
deny
good at that.
primary very well.
Just if you run out of units too fast, suddenly you're in trouble.
Yep.
As we saw last night.
Is 3 squads of Incubi led by Drazzer a good splash into a Craft World shooting list, and is there a good obsession for it?
It is a good splash. I would say the obsession really only matters for the transports. If you're just doing a Vanguard. So I would say Blackheart. Just gives you access to a very good stratagem with Vect. And then just a redeploy on the couple Dark Lances, assuming that you took like maybe 2 Raiders. Yeah. Or if you did a patrol, you could do Dark Technomancers, where you get 3 rack squads, 2 Incubi and Drazar. I think that'd be perfectly reasonable too.
Maybe they're running a Craft World shooting list and just want a little bit of counter assault.
Yeah.
So, but still, having extra efficiency on your boats isn't a bad thing.
It's never a bad thing at all, yeah. And a good stratagem that's free, especially, is just money.
Getting my Akalon Terminators built. Akalon Terminators.
I do love Akalon Terminators.
I think they're the coolest Terminators in the game.
I disagree. From a unit perspective, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
from
like all the Horus Heresy Terminators in general are so much better than the 40k ones. So like I would say it's the Ebon Kashyyyk, but those don't have rules.
Yeah.
Those
So
models.
we can't compare them.
So it's hard to compare. Yeah.
Like the Akalon Terminator, that's a unit.
That's a unit right there. They're pretty chunky.
Wait, is 23 Screamers not competitive? Not yet. Maybe the next Demons book will completely transform the Screamer star.
80,000 Suns, the Mutilate Vortex beef buffs.
Well, they're already great while we stand.
They're great while we stand.
So about the XV08 suits, what do you think about 7 suits, 6 Cyclic Ion, 6 launchers, 2 Iridium, 6 ATS, Blast Double Plasma, Shield Generator, kill Morty in 1 to 1.5 turns? Frankly, Tau don't have a big problem killing Morty when they need to, because they have easy ways to reroll wounds and just have volume of fire all over the place. What I don't like about that is to get a significant part of your efficiency, which is the Cyclic Ions, you actually need to be right next to them. That's generally not
right
where
next
you want.
to Mortarion. What?
Not right next to him, but in the threat range of a potential Death Guard or Chaos Army.
But it's not where I want to be.
So you don't want your crisis suits there. I would rather just go more missile pods or be able to be behind a wall that you can move block with drones and devilfish and whatnot, Remora drones. Just block it off so that Morty can't actually land in a potential charge area. So I would I'd be hesitant to run Cyclic Ions on the crisis unit. Even though Cyclic Ion is the strongest weapon profile wise, the range limitation is kind of brutal right now. And you're definitely going to want an airburst guy on there so that you can ignore AP 1 and 2 in shooting.
Why wouldn't you want
That's
that?
pretty important. Guys, I'm losing my mind, but I think I'm slightly leaning Aldari for Atlantic City instead of Sisters, but I keep fighting myself. Well,
Is that Matt Laura?
that is Matt. That's our good friend Matt. Matt, tell us about this Craft World list. What is in it? Why is it so good into the meta? And why are you thinking it over Sisters?
As a completely unashamed hypocrite, you should never play Eldar.
Just when you want to win the Dallas Open GT.
As a completely unashamed hypocrite, never play Eldar.
Saw the Black Templar versus Admech game. Double pivot flyers, so crazy for mobility. How do you feel about Black Templar shenanigans? Easier or harder to play versus than other chapters? I think Black Templars are very strong.
Definitely harder to play against than other runes.
I think White Scars and Black Templars are probably the 2 hardest to play against.
I would agree with that.
But for Admech, Blood Angels are actually pretty powerful as well.
Yeah.
Like the pregame move with the Death Company, that can get scary very quickly.
Oh, yeah,
However,
that's it.
turning off rerolls from 1 CP is awesome. And that makes a difference with
That
Metallica.
really helps.
Really does help against those
When you
things.
mention it that way.
That's why I prefer Metallica. Not the only reason, but
Fourth switch to -1 to hit Canonical.
exactly.
Turn off rerolls.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
It's
bad
not the
time.
worst. It's really not bad.
Because I mean, if they send like a 200, 300 point unit to me, depending on how big it is,
yeah,
I'm gonna try and dramatically reduce that damage that I'm gonna
it
take.
really changes it from where they have to commit to less units than before, and then you don't even spend a strat.
Yeah.
Or if they really try to split and maximize that knockout punch, then suddenly they leave 2 or 3 things alive, and Admec's like, well, all of it just gained 3 wounds. Look at
All
that.
heals. I'm gonna.
It's now top tier and healing. Great.
And I just lost my key unit with all the thunder hammers.
And also like 5
This is
CP.
a bad turn. So I like the utility that way. But Black Templars have some great tricks. Really, advance and charge. If you have that, such an amazing rule.
That is what I miss the most in my Ultimate Army.
So amazing to have access to it. That's what Deathwatch being able to do a chapter tactic on a unit.
Oh, that's why.
White Scars.
It's like
I was doing that all game.
The pocket White Scar. It's
Nick did
literally
not see me taking every banner down with the bikers.
good.
It's just like, I'm gonna he's like, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take your home objective away in the banner. He's like, how the heck are you gonna do that? You're in the middle of the table. I was like, well, White Scars bikes. They're coming. They's a coming.
It's like you're bringing back Gray Shield, which just brings me so much joy. That's
John and I had
things
so
miss.
much fun with Gray Shield. What a great
That
rule.
was a great rule.
Great trait. Games Workshop.
That was actually my favorite part of Leviathan.
That was the best part. 'Cause it wasn't necessary, but it was such a little bit of extra just spice whenever
Oh,
you
yeah.
did it. It was so good. It's like, oh, you want to come in and Assault Doctrine with your White Scar? Nick had this whole plan to beat us. He was like, he's going to come in with his White Scar Reavers. Going to be 2 damage, AP 1.
AP1.
And we were like, yeah, that's the turn we pop Salamanders. And
like,
he's going to have a bad time.
Just ignore the AP.
It's like, oh. And then he was just like, yeah, that would have been bad. Love Nick.
Beautiful.
Do you guys think a Death Guard detachment is necessary in a Chaos list, or what do you guys think is the most necessary unit for Chaos?
Someone with Warp Time.
The Warp Time Caster is important.
Warp Time carries
Cannot
the sub
deny
faction.
that. Yeah, that probably is the most important unit that they have. And that's why it's usually Araman.
Mm-hmm.
it's,
Give that on plus the cast guy.
it's that guy or
Or the Word Bears.
Word Bearers guy who you want him to fail and just auto pass it if there's denies around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please, could you actually fail this time? Just one time for me.
When you accidentally roll the exact
Exactly.
7 and you're like, do I reroll this? Or like,
This is a 2 CP Avenger to pass this power now.
yeah.
Dear Lord, that palette at the top right has definitely been well loved. That is the wonderful Army Painter wet palette.
I've
John
put
has
some
been
use on it.
he's been putting.
But it's holding up well. It's a great palette, honestly.
Yep. I mean,
And yes, it is about time that I replace some of the working parts. This is actually the last of the wax papers, which is why I've let it get so bad. I really need to get some replacements from Gary Peterson.
but yeah, we will be contacting our wonderful sponsor, the Army Painter, to get some more. Lyle Dixon with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Lyle. Very good. He is currently the top donor of the channel for this month. So he is leading the pack for choosing a stream match for the next month. Siegs has sent you a list and a message, but how did the 4-1 Necron list in the Maryland GT beat Drukari twice? I'm not seeing it in the list.
You know,
Let me finish painting this and we can pull that list up.
we can find out together.
But honestly,
I'm also interested.
what
in
I'm
this.
going to say, very likely, is that Necron player was playing his proverbial stuff off on this game to beat Drukari twice. Like, he was just
Maybe
being
he's an experienced Necron player. He knows what he's doing. You get someone who's a little bit fresh to Drukari, not to imply that anyone would do that at such a time as now. But maybe he's a little inexperienced. And maybe that's better than having experience is better than just army hopping. Not that I would ever say that.
But
Who would army hop?
if he was running a warrior heavy build, then my guess is that the reanimations were what swung the game enough for him to win those games.
That could definitely be it.
Because just think back to the early games where you didn't have a ton of reps against Necrons, and just the reanimation shenanigans I was able to pull off.
Yeah, that sucked.
It was just
We
like,
learned.
Yep. Sometimes you have to learn hard against new rules.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, that's not
It's
happening
the-
again.
Yeah, it's like the first time it happened, I'm like, this is annoying. Okay. The second time with the Res Orb, I'm like, this is also annoying. Okay.
I would rather not do any damage to this unit than...
Yeah, that's what I learned, and there were legitimately turns where I just stopped shooting. I'm like, nope, we're done. Like, we'll finish this later.
All right, let's pull that up real quick. In the meanwhile, my question regarding yesterday's game, do you think the killing power in the last codexes, the commitment for destroying primaries with Tyranids is viable without losing too much?
Oh man. The strategy is viable. I don't know how best to implement it because Tyranids are very difficult to write lists for right now. So I think that that's the best approach. How viable is it? Still less than those new books, unfortunately. I think that they really are suffering against in the Drukhari meta and in the ways that people are responding to Drukhari.
All right, here's this list, John.
Lay it on me.
Novak. Perfect. Already
start.
love it. Crypto Thralls. Chronomancer, they don't have the Tropic Lance. He has the Aeon Staff.
Bold.
Bolt.
Not even tropical.
I love getting tropical.
I know.
Veil of Darkness on one. The Lord with the Eternity Orb. And just a basic staff. 20 warriors, 15 warriors, all with the Gauss Reapers. Another unit of Crypto Thralls, 5 flayed ones, helps scramblers for sure. Lich Guard, 10-man brick of the Lich Guard. 4 scarabs, 3 scarabs, 3 scarabs. Silent King. This is very similar to the list that I ran in the tournament, the Las Vegas Open. It just basically adds the flayed one unit and cuts down some warriors and switches the Lord Relic. And honestly, it's pretty darn similar, which means it's a great list. This list it does a lot of damage up close. Like all the rerolls in the Silent King, the warriors are hyper efficient, and they're still obsec. Like they don't really need the custom dynasty for be double obsec because if Drukhari's in the middle of the table, they're in the transports. If they're out of the transports, all the stuff on the board is just dead from the Gauss Reaper units. So, and then Necron Warriors with Novak and the Silent King actually kill stuff in melee. So if Nick tries to tag me with Witches with Morvaine's Agonizer, I couldn't care less. I'm going to swing and kill all of them.
Good.
So, yeah, a good Witch is a dead Witch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, he probably just played the mission supremely well. Necrons actually can score a ton of secondary points, so my guess is that he picked Domination if he could. If he couldn't pick Domination, he'd either go for a kill secondary or try and go for Engage and also pick Scramblers in the same case, because the Crypto Thralls, the Flayed ones, etc., the little Scarab units would get him those points. And then he picked Code of Combat, most likely, but if not, you go thin the ranks or grind them down, but really probably Code of Combat. And that's probably the secondaries lived off of. He probably got 40 points almost every game on secondaries, so he needed to get about a 40 on primary each game to get around the 80-point mark, which is kind of where you want to be reliably winning games. So, and it's actually hard to take away primary from this list just because of the amount of warriors all over the board. So you can very easily get those like first 3 turns, you get 10 points each turn, 30 points, and then if you have bottom of the turn, easy 15. Frankly, that's probably what he did. Now against Drukhari, the tricky thing is you just need to make sure the Succubus doesn't hit the warrior unit. So how he did that was just screening as annoyingly as possible with things like the Scarab units. He probably used the Silent King aggressively by like turn 3 to help protect warriors because the warriors are actually more important. Probably just played it really smart, honestly. It's a super solid list, does damage all over the place. Proud of him.
There you go. Go Necrons.
Love it.
The Silent King is pleased.
The Silent King is very pleased. Yeah, I mean, that list takes a ton of skill to pilot, so that guy was playing it amazingly well. So congrats to him. Do you guys think the old Raiders or the new Raiders look cooler?
I like the new ones better. I'm a new school kind of guy.
I think the new ones, the sleek look, I like it. I would say, though, that the old Incubi, I like them more.
Yeah, the overall aesthetic.
I like the old Incubi.
I mean, what if they were wearing a trench coat?
Well, when they're wearing trench coats, they're just unbeatable.
Absolutely.
Invincible. So
truly unkillable.
if you were Vex Trenchcoat Incubi, you are a hero of the Drukhari.
Let's show off this. Just finished edge highlighting one Dreadnought here. Let's see how this is going.
Look at that. I mean, that looks amazing.
This is taking forever.
John's going for best painted at ACL. I'm ready to go first.
Well, I have to be playing Death Watch, which there's still time for. It's an
still
option. We'll see if I can get the list where I like it, but very happy with how this is coming along. Oh my god, that was one and there's two of them. Oh god. She has three. Boy.
John's a busy boy.
Always more to paint.
Will John paint the new Sisters Army in Nick's color scheme?
I will certainly not.
Nope. Nope.
No, we will not.
No, we will not. Rippers were the MVP. The implant attack
100%.
gotcha was grade A content. I mean, it wasn't even a gotcha because Nick has played Tyranids
Nick's
for
played
so long.
Tyranids so long. I've
He
been playing
just-
Stacked him before, he just forgot.
Yeah, he just totally forgot that was a thing, especially because it was Ripper Swarms.
Yep. Hey, and if he's
And-
playing Drukari into my Tyranids, I gotta pull it out.
You got-
I gotta pull out the whole book.
You got to implement.
Throw the book at him.
That was the same thing as my Repulsor Impact Field. It was just like, you probably don't remember this strat as a thing because I never used it. 1 CP. Let's just kill 3 or 4 Zephyr right off the bat. It's so
painful.
good.
It's pretty good, yeah. I actually never had to play against that Farsight list when you had your Reign of Terror innovate, because that was right before I was really into streaming because I was
Yeah.
still living in Tampa.
Nick was very afraid of it.
Yeah,
he
oh,
was
yeah.
literally trying to hard count. He was like, this list is broken. I cannot be beaten. I need to tailor as hard as possible for it. So I send him into just a massive spiral heading into Adepticon.
At this point, it's an Art of War tradition.
Yeah. he didn't know what was happening with that list. That was when I first started using the Airburst, and it was just
Mhm.
beautiful.
Beautiful thing.
They didn't have Blast back then.
Oh boy.
Blast is so good. What do you think about OBSEC lists that run several units of Wraith? So I had a client, Nick Keever, who was actually in this chat earlier. He ran a list with the 15 Wraiths, Scorpec unit, 2 units, small units of Lich Guard, big units of Scarabs, just send OBSEC across the board pregame move. And it had a lot of success. As the game has moved on, there's been new things that are as or even more durable, and armies that do a crazy amount of damage, like Drukari. So I think it's become less powerful in the meta overall, but you can still win plenty of games with it. Just having OBSEC on very fast, relatively durable units is great, because like one survives, you get to reanimate, and you're taking over their objective, most likely. So still a very solid list for sure. I just think there are armies that do too much damage too quickly, and that list doesn't do enough damage in return. It's not really taking away that many resources, certainly like the strongest stuff. So you have to build a list that can accept, taking a lot of damage each turn after turn if you go for that style. So you need to do clever like combat tricks to minimize it, which we teach in the war room.
Which we do teach in the world.
My last question regarding yesterday's game: do you think that the killing power in the game? Oh no, we got that one. We got that one.
Excellent.
Howdy from Perth, Western Australia, smashing out painting at 1:45 a.m. for this weekend's GT running Sisters.
Fantastic.
Best of luck in your tournament. Rooting for you. Good to see the Sisters take another win.
I would love to see it. I am all about Sisters right now. Or I will be when they get a codex.
John is also very used to burning the midnight tournament oil.
Oh my goodness, every time. You'd think that after doing it so many times, I would just have the armies painted by now, and there's just always more.
All right, here's Matt's Eldar list. Autark, Farseer on bike, 2x5. What is Avengers, 5 Rangers, 10 of the Shadow Specters.
Ooh.
Definitely gonna be some Fire and Fade plays there. Double Wraitseer, Lynxes, 2 Lynxes, Drazar, the Cabalites, Incubi, Venoms. The terrain, this is fairly resilient, has good indirect, good shooting. Yeah, I mean, you can hide all this stuff behind, like, for ACO terrain, you need to hide behind the hills. So if you can't hide behind the hills, you definitely don't want to be going and playing on Dawn of War and having a real bad time against a shooting army. So that list can definitely hide. It's got a lot of little mission playing things. And, it can do quite a bit of damage. The Lynxes, what are they? Flat? They're strength 9, AP 3, flat 3?
I think they're just 6 shots, strength 9, AP 4, flat 3.
Flat 3.
They might even be more than strength 9.
Yeah.
I just remember that they wounded toughness 7 on 3s, so they could be like 12 or 10.
Yeah, it's
They're up there.
reasonably efficient platform into the Dreadnoughts that we're seeing as well.
Yep.
Good into Raiders. No, I mean, I think that's a super solid shooting list right there. And you also have a lot of speed. Speed is the big thing
Speed is king.
that you can miss out on with Sisters, because it's really the Miracle Dice plays that you're relying on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in this case, you just have it inbuilt in your units. Definitely don't mind that. And as you said, you have a lot of experience playing with that. I assume the Wraithseers have the indirect fire, so they can kind of move
Yeah,
up,
those
sit behind a
D-cannons.
ruin, and just shoot through into the middle of the table. I definitely think you need to be good at shooting on that terrain.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be good at shooting. But honestly, if you throw the Wraith Spheres out on the objectives, plus you have transports with OBSEC inside, are they getting through that?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Certainly not in one turn.
Wraith Spheres are pretty tough.
Yeah. Ripper Swarms are infantry, right?
Darn right there.
Oh, that was a classic game. Nick was trying to scramble with the Ripper Swarms, not realizing that swarms, in fact, mean they are swarms.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't have guessed it either, really.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's very hard to figure that out.
Look at this guy. Look at this Tau Commander.
Shesso Relay.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
He's got an experimental pulse submunitions rifle.
He also does have a shield, which is almost as good as having a sword.
He has an Eclipse shield.
An Eclipse shield.
Eclipse shield
That is a cool
generator.
name.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Gives him that sweet Storm Shield effect.
That's what you want right there.
And he's a boss among the commanders because he has 7 wounds.
Why?
He comes with 2 drones that are blacklight marker drones as well. They're really cool.
Yeah, the blacklight markers are like
48-inch range marker lights. On this
Ooh.
36-inch range.
48's just gonna get everything.
Yeah, I'm just sit on the backboard edge. But they have native BS4 and the Raleigh has a drone controller inbuilt, so they can hit on 3s. Marker lights on 3s, baby. Don't have to spend 30 points on a character. But the funny thing, he has a 100-point package, and each drone typically is around 10 points. So basically, you're getting him for 80 points. Like, it's a darn steal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like a really good deal.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Have you thought about incursors with the Haywire and anti-charge unit for Drukhari and Sisters? Mortal wounds if they charge you sounds useful.
I have thought about adding that Haywire Mine to the incursors. It hasn't quite fit in yet, just because it's 10 points that I need to find somewhere, but it's definitely not a bad option, especially as a 4 unit. And I think if you get charged by a vehicle, it's just like a flat 3 wounds on a 2+.
Probably it's Haywire.
Which is just kind of useful, especially maybe in a Dreadnought meta if we ever get to that point. It's worth considering. I'm probably going to paint up one of the markers at some point for my incursors. We'll see if I can fit it into a list. It might be cool, just work on like a raid or just do 3 wounds to it real quick.
Yeah.
For 10 points, that seems quite useful.
Yeah, I think exploring those little options.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still love the Grav drone. And hazard suits are -2 to charge. Those stacks, so you can be like minus. And then there's a forest nearby, which you know how much I love my forest, John.
I've seen you grab drones in forest.
Nova had 2 forests on the side. Like, that's where my army is gonna be.
Lived inside
Would be
the
a
forest.
shame if you got -5 to charge right now. Be a real darn shame to see that happen.
Forest.
Oh, Nova, Mike Brandt, miss those times. Cannot wait for Nova next year.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys found other ways to playtest lists or ideas without playing full 5-round games, such as playing through the first couple rounds? Curious to hear your thoughts. Eric, that's a wonderful question because this week we are in the Worm experimenting with our tournament stress testing format for the War Room coaching game. Typically, we play a full game and do a lot of... It is very analysis-based. Essentially, we kind of give you our full thought process on all the questions that we're asking, all the things that we're thinking in the back of our mind, what we're going to prioritize, why, all that stuff. Kind of the stuff that when you're watching a game of 40K is just internalized. Instead, we actually vocalize all of that. So that's typically what we do in the coaching games. But more recently, especially when big tournaments are coming up, we're playing a lot of games behind the scenes and doing stress testing of our tournament list, make sure that they can actually hold up in the meta and be in contention to win the event. So we want to bring that experience to the War Room as well. And so this week is the first time we're doing it on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It is going to be John and I stress testing Nick's Drukhari list. Can it stand up on the ACO terrain against John's Ultramarines and my AdMech Flyer list? We're going to find out because this is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be very, very
And
spicy.
if it seems that it cannot hold up against that, what changes is Nick going to have to make to make
go for
that
it,
playable? Yeah, if he wants to play Drukhari. So that's what we're going to be doing this week, and we plan to do that more often in the coming weeks as well, and make it a regular feature of the War John, what is your least favorite army? I need ideas for my request match. It's
Um,
called...
what do you think, Six?
John hates Nurgle, for sure.
I definitely hate Nurgle.
Nurgle is up there.
So, like, there are different levels of hatred.
Yeah.
I hate Eldar the most. However, I have played Dark Eldar on occasion.
And Harlequins.
And Harlequins, yeah. And there were honestly, there was a Craftworld battalion in that list too. Not gonna
There was.
lie. But
John
then,
didn't
like,
play Ynnari, though.
I did not. Absolutely. This was in the middle of Ynnari. I've never played a game with Ynnari. This was in the middle of.
He has a small amount of self-respect.
This was in the middle of Ynnari, and I refused to go that low. Nurgle I hate like as just like a playstyle and like a lore, like everything about Nurgle. I'm like, why did someone think that you needed to be included? Like, who invited you to this party? You are, man. If we were all in kindergarten, Nurgle would not have gotten a Valentine for me. That's all I'm saying. Whole class except Nurgle.
Oh, the cold shoulder from John.
Indeed.
Poor Nurgle.
Space Wolves. I actually, you know what? Everyone thinks that I hate Space Wolves, but Space Wolves are actually, they have a very important role in the meta. They keep Imperial Fists from being the worst spaceman chapter. Someone has to do it. That's an honorable role.
Yep.
Someone has to keep Imperial Fists from being on the bottom.
Excellent.
Yep. Space Wolves.
Orcs.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
I know you're not the biggest fan of the orcs.
You know what? They've got some funny stuff. So I hate playing orcs. I don't hate playing against orcs.
Yeah, I love playing against orcs.
Yeah,
God,
and also
it's not
honestly, I could be convinced to paint some orcs, but playing with them is just I've tried a couple times. And it doesn't feel right.
Tau?
I do hate Tau. Farsight has a sword and commands my respect. Everyone else in Tau, no, absolutely not.
Whoa, is Nurgle does Nurgle take the cake though?
I really hate elves.
Elves.
I really hate elves.
What elves in particular?
I dislike Craft Worlds very strongly. If you're looking for a sub match there, that is I dislike Craft Worlds quite strongly. Making me play Craft Worlds, while it would be trolly, would not be nearly as trolly as making me play Craft Worlds into Nick playing Tau. That's all I'm saying. I do not wish to.
I don't know if Chat can suffer Nick actually not knowing any rules with the Tau.
That'd be pretty bad, yeah.
This is with me helping him, by the way, because I've given him advice in the past, and he did not take any of that advice, and then John stomped him.
Yes, I did.
He did not take any of that advice.
And I did not take mercy.
Nope, there was zero mercy. Nick sat in the corner with the Tau army. It's like, oh, the mission doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh, classic.
Gotta sit in the corner.
You gotta sit in the corner.
Who is asking that?
That is Lyle.
Lyle?
If you need to purchase bits, where does Art of War go to buy them?
Ooh. I don't actually so I keep all my bits.
I have bits going back to 3rd edition.
Yeah, I have bits going back to 4th. I don't quite have 3rd. So I keep all my bits, and usually if I need a specific bit, I will have the kit it came in, or I will go get the kit and just kind of have it. A lot more bits. I'll occasionally go on eBay, shopping for certain bits if there's some particular things that I'm interested in. For example, there's an Age of Sigmar Stormcast kit where it's a bunch of dudes with crossbows, and one of them has like a glove with a falcon on it. And let me tell you, I have literally zero interest in Stormcast with crossbows, but I like gloves and falcons, I got that on eBay. Honestly, it means I probably overpaid a little bit, but whatever. I wanted a falcon.
Yeah, it's better than having to buy the whole kit.
Exactly.
Played Friday against Knights with my Necrons, won 73-56. Got to play them objectives. Took 3 turns for a Warglaive to kill a unit of 9 Scarabs in melee.
3 turns. Not bad, not bad. Actually surprised they did that in 3 turns.
Yeah. I mean, it eventually doesn't have the invuln anymore, so they're just going straight
That's
through.
true, yeah. At that point, it's probably when it starts happening.
But yes, Warglaives are not consistent in melee.
No, they're not. I love them, though. I do love them. Oh, edge highlighting is just so beautiful.
We got Fusion Blasters. Lynx also have a really low profile. That's critical for the shooting, 100%. They're also super fast, so they can go from angle to angle.
They are long, but they are short.
Congrats, John, on the W. I'm usually not a Space Marine fan, but your list looks fun. Love me some DACA robots, in this case the Dreadnoughts. Richard, am I mad wanting to bring Tau to a GT? No, you're not mad. You can score a lot of secondary points with Tau and do decent on the primary, so definitely requires you not making many mistakes, but Tau are playable.
Mhm. It's
Hope-
hard to play, but it's playable.
Hard to play, but playable. If you've seen any of the stream games, you've seen like I'm playing against Nick and John for the most part. Like if I can make games close against them, like it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Played Drukari for the first time yesterday with my Silent King Novak list. Lost 79-97. Favorite moment was on turn 5 when his succubus got interrupted before she could fight, and she died to 4 scarabs. I love the sound of that.
I love that.
They have a lot of attacks.
I should have interrupted with the Ripper Storms. Killed the Archon.
Honestly,
I did it anyway.
Yeah.
It was better that he got the swing first.
it was better. That was an honorable fight.
Mhm.
The Rippers don't need to interrupt; they just wait. Silly power sword.
Fool.
What do you need AP3 when we don't have armor? We have 6 up armors.
The fact that they made the morale check and stuck around to keep punching them, that was good. It's like, this is
That's
good.
how you do it.
This is how you do it.
Battle of the Swarms. We need you to get the Forge World Swarms so we can fight swarms. 27 scarabs versus all the swarms.
I can do this. You make this happen.
What about Commander Farsight? I played Torch Star, Cold Star with Double Flamer, ATS, Drone Controller, Relic of Arthas Moloch. And Farsight at the moment gives me Double Monka, some sort of minimal defenses and melee with the rerolling ones. Yeah, I think Farsight is legitimately good. Far better than Shadow Sun. Double Monka is actually useful.
Monka is
And
the best one.
the great thing is, Farsight has a really terrible gun, so you're never tempted to shoot him.
Don't even worry about it.
You're gonna spend 1 CP every turn for him to commando the unit of
Someone's got to do it. It's very honorable to just wait with the sword.
Yep.
No need to shoot.
Farsight will wait late game. He'll go jump into combat if he needs to, but he is perfectly happy chilling there doing double Monka and commando.
Mhm.
So
Beautiful.
Commander Farsight is actually viable and he's actually good. He's not great, but he's actually a decent character and one of the better named commanders. In souping in a Shadowkeeper's patrol with a Telemon, a squad of shield and board custodians, and a shield captain, is that worth it in Sisters to lose Sacred Rights? Sacred Rights.
I do really like Sword and Board Guard. We saw in the Las Vegas Nopen winning list that they can be a powerful ally for Sisters, and I don't dislike a Talon either. I think it could be worth it. It's definitely not mandatory, but it is. It's worth trying for sure. I think that's where I'd land on that.
Yeah, if you're not going for the Triumph or Celestine, that's kind of what the shield captain provides. Similar threat, except he's OPSEC.
I do like that fast shield captain. He's a speedy boy.
He's also just a champion of the Imperium.
But also the thing is, I like Trajan because Trajan's Moment Shackled is not for Custody stratagems; it's for your stratagems.
Yep.
So you can use it on like a Repentia fight twice. That is value right there. Because like with Custodies, you really only get 2 CP out of the Moment Shackled usually. But
Because you're not using the Vexilla strap.
no,
Terribly
very
often.
very rarely. I don't have a Vexilla on my list anymore, and I don't have Terminators either, so it just
Yeah.
doesn't come up often.
But Trajan also gives you access to the wonderful Tanglefoot Grenade, which
Is a beautiful thing.
that is a stratagem.
That is a stratagem of champions right there.
So there are reasons to run Trajan. Lack of speed is an issue,
Trajan goes where he pleases.
but still, if you're playing more of an aggressive board control style of Sisters, you could definitely see him fitting in there. Like instead of taking Inquisitor and that type of stuff, you go for Trajan,
Mhm.
especially against Drukari.
I do like
Tanglefoot is just awesome.
Tanglefoot's amazing, yeah. Making them second guess their speed advantage is huge.
Also, you really give them, if they run Blackheart, you give them some really tough options on what to vect. Is
That's
it the
true.
advance and charge? Is it Tanglefoot? What is it going to be? That's
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Yeah. It's not obvious. Wife and I moving to Florida early next year. What's a good gaming area? What general locations is everybody in? Florida has an extremely vibrant and healthy competitive 40K meta.
Yeah, it does.
The Central Florida region, there's the Miami region, there's Jacksonville has its own cohort, and then we are in the Tallahassee area. So there's pretty much all over the place, and then Tampa has a scene as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything in Central Florida, which is like a
Central Florida probably has the most players overall.
Tampa to Orlando and kind of everything in between has a lot of good game stores and tournaments.
Yep. A lot of active tournaments there.
Yes. That's actually I miss that. I miss just like anytime I was bored on a Saturday, I could like go check Facebook and there would be an RTT somewhere in driving distance every time. It's like Daddy wants another Rhino, go get some store credit.
I can't make you play Tau, John. I'm going to make Nick play Tau unless Siegs has enough Tau for a stream mirror. I mean, I do have enough Tau for a stream mirror. There'd be wildly different lists. But, yes, I have plenty of points to... I have well over...
Does anyone in Tallahassee own a Tau army that like would be painted to the point where we could borrow it for stream?
Chris used to have one.
He definitely has owned a Tau army at some point.
I don't think he owns it anymore.
What happened to the John K. Tau army that you played at Charity Hammer? Did that get sold?
Yes.
Okay.
John Moore is in a darker Foresight Enclave scheme, but potentially.
Hmm.
He has lava bases. But yeah, it would probably look a little too similar.
Most likely, yeah.
But somebody could run the Taunar, for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Nick.
Oh, man. Can I get your honest opinion on the state of Blood Angels? They got a mediocre book. One of the bottom 5 that have come out in 9th edition, for sure. Now, there actually hasn't been that many, so I would say...
Bottom 3.
Yeah, frankly. It's them, Space Wolves, and Necrons out of the new books that came out.
Even the Necrons didn't have a bad book.
It's not a bad book, it's mediocre.
I think it's a bottom 2 book. Them and Space Wolves are both like, didn't do much.
Yeah, it really did not add much. Like, when you want to take more basic Marine stuff over your special things, you're not in... You didn't get the best rules, and all their strats were nerfed, unfortunately, so... I think Blood Angels got the short end of the stick. Doesn't mean they're bad, because baseline Marines are still a very strong book. It's just... It's hard to see running them over chapters like Dark Angels or White Scars.
White Scars, baby!
Black Templars.
I do like Black Templars, too.
So, when the other melee chapters outperform you, it's kind of hard to play them. But they definitely do a lot of damage, and they're very quick. They have some... Like, the pregame move is still very powerful.
They have some interesting stuff.
They have some good secondaries.
Gabriel Seth is the best chapter master in the book.
So
Everyone knows that.
they still have things, but I think at the very top of the meta, like they can get up there, and then once they actually face the top armies, it's really hard to outplay them.
I'd agree with that. They're good at getting to the top, but they fold kind
The
of.
meta hasn't been kind to them because it's gone towards more shooting than melee, and Blood Angels are not designed to do better shooting than other like factions like Ultramarines. So, or Death Watch.
Yeah,
So,
but even like White Scars like get a couple situational shooting buffs, which just are enough to carry them.
yeah, like fall back and shoot.
Fall back and shoot is just fantastic. Or advance and shoot in a couple.
Blood Angels they used to be able to spend the 1 CP. It doesn't count as a fallback, and then you come down at the end of that movement phase. Now it's the next turn. It's just no. So, unfortunately, that's probably going to remain for a while, which is very sad. Like Dante severely needed an actual update, and
He just needs a Primaris model.
yeah, he needs
Primaris
he needs
Dante
some
Lane.
good rules. That would be awesome. Sadly, that night list has me taking Ophidians out of my list for a bit of anti-tank. Think about Triarch Stalker. I will tell you the Stalker is just very unreliable, so you might not have the best time with it. Necron anti-tank is very mediocre.
Mediocre.
It's very mediocre. So they really missed the boat on the Necron anti-tank. Either it's wildly inconsistent or it has no defense. So you're stuck between which one of those are you choosing.
What would you say is good anti-tank with no defense?
The Locust Destroyer, Heavy Destroyers?
Ah, gotcha, okay.
Like, if you take a unit of 6 of them and you're rerolling ones to hit
kill.
and wounds, like, they're going to fail enough saves and 3d3 damage on each one. You're going to kill stuff. You have -1 damage? Awesome. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, to second is
You're
not
just
enough there.
gone. So, those things can pick up tanks. It's just the return volley, they can't take it. They can get a 5 up invuln, but that's not
Are
really.
they 3 wins or 4?
I think they're 4 wins.
4? It's still a Dark Lance.
Yeah, every Dark Lance or anything like that goes through, but just the volume of fire that's in the game.
It would also do it for sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know. There have people been, running the 6-man Locust Destroyer unit. It kills stuff for sure, but
Not quite there.
No, yeah, like once it's dead, you just completely lost that and a lot of points.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's not Necrons can't have a lot of redundancy with shooting.
All right. That's true. It's hard for them to take like multiple good shooting units.
Wraithseers seem okay versus Drukhari. T8 means 4+ on Darklight and 5+ on Liquefiers. 9 wounds, 5 of Invuln means they could just accidentally take a Drukhari shooting phase. Could definitely do that. It's also what they help with is redundancy on the objectives. You have multiple things that are all annoying to kill. That's not what Drukhari likes.
No, not at all.
And you want to force them to have to send the racks out early to try and do damage so that you can get rid of them early.
Yeah.
Missed the AdMech chat, didn't I? We did talk a bit about the AdMech. I think everything that just came out today looks awesome, and Mars looks exceedingly powerful with the fact that Canticles are quite a bit stronger.
Yes. Okay.
So being able to get Canticles on stuff that normally wouldn't, awesome. And the fact that they're also getting the Doctrines at the same time on those Katara units, beautiful.
Oh yeah, those Doctrine Imperatives look amazing.
Cannot wait. As soon as we get the preview, next week's schedule is already filled with AdMech stuff. So
We will talk
AdMech on
about
stream,
that next
AdMech in the War Room, AdMech Clinic. It's all happening. So
Okay.
if you're excited about AdMech, join us in the War Room. There's going to be so much AdMech content. I'm going to try as many different builds over the coming weeks as possible. We got 219, John.
Not bad. All right, I'm gonna run to the other room and grab the Death Watch that I air rushed. We'll bring them in here and get to work. I just finished edge highlighting those 2 dreadnoughts. They are looking pretty good.
They're looking awesome. Did
I'm
you show them off?
pleased. Let's do it one more time.
Yeah, show it off one more time. One more time.
Let's get these Redemptors.
Look at those guys.
So these are the 2 Redemptors I've been working on. We are getting there. We're getting there. I may experiment a little bit with some inks later on, but really happy with how they're coming here.
Yeah, they look awesome.
So
Absolutely
we're gonna
awesome.
take our time in this Death Watch army. We're gonna do it right, and I'm gonna try to make this the best looking army we've got in the Streamhouse.
Perfect. That's the ambition I love from John.
I'm gonna get done. We got this Death Watch.
Okay. Well, John grabs the Death Watch. Thoughts on dual Catan and what type of list you'd put it in? I don't think Catan are very good, frankly. Right now, the meta is full of transports, and Sky of Falling Stars is by far the best of the Catan powers. And it doesn't matter if your opponent has a bunch of transports with the stuff inside that you want a Sky of Falling Stars. So you're going to lose at least 2-3 turns of efficiency. And even then, when armies like Drukhari, the Catan don't have great ways to pop transports. Necron shooting, like we talked about, isn't great. So it's not easy to kill the transports. And then when Drukhari disembarks stuff, they send it into your face, do a whole load of damage. And then they just accepted that stuff's going to die anyway. So they're not worried about it getting Sky Falling Stars. So I think Catan are terrible right now in this meta. And they're overpriced already. It doesn't help that the meta has shifted as well. And I think AdMech is the worst matchup possible for Catan because they can just die in any phase possible. It's like 6 different phases of Mortal Wounds. Don't want to face you with my Catan.
No.
So I don't think you can go into a game with a hard matchup like AdMech when it is such a prominent army getting a new book soon. So I would not be running any Catan in Necrons. Their best unit is the Necron Warrior. I think you need to have as many as possible on the board.
I do like the Necron Warrior.
Well, when you design a book around buffing that one unit, I would hope that it's actually
They designed it around buffing core and then didn't give core anything else. Simple.
John, are you planning to change your Custody Guard list?
I haven't been working on it recently, frankly, but I think that if I bust it out again, I will definitely have to make some changes. I haven't really decided what that's going to look like. I love the Dreadnoughts. I just need to figure out what is the best way to support them to play the mission, and I think it just is going to involve less Manticores and more mission playing, kind of like I talked about earlier in the show here. It's where I think I would go, but it's definitely a difficult thought process because I love my Manticores so much.
John loves the Manticores.
I do. I think I love them. They just make me very happy. Mostly because they make Nick sad. I mean, like, literally just picked up the whole unit of Penitent, or of Mortifiers. Looks like I'm going to reserve my while we stand fights. You only get to shoot it for 2 turns. I'm like, only need 1.
That's enough.
Only need 1. Here it comes. It's 12 shots. No problem.
Hitting on 4s is just not amazing in the meta.
It's fine. It's not.
I mean, there's so many times where you're like, all right, so here we go, 10 shots, 2 hits. Awesome.
1 wound, and they made the save.
And they made the save. That single rack.
Well, the single rack made 3 feel no pains.
Yeah.
He failed the save because he didn't have one.
He was powerful.
It's like, ugh, why is he alive? It was very disheartening for sure.
They do have reasonable consistency. It's just there are plenty of forests and mice to hit in the game right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that single thing is tough to overcome for them.
Yeah, it really is for guard. We'll see. I would really love to see what a new guard codex would look like. They're just very 8th edition as an army.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to see them get a new codex soon. And they're also iconic. I wonder if the new Cadian upgrade sprue that they previewed, I wonder what the context is of that. I'm honestly guessing that there's going to be a future like supplement for Cadian Guard.
Cadia would make sense.
Cadian Catachan would be the ones that make sense. And I would actually much prefer Catachan because I think they're a lot more interesting. But Cadia is logical.
I did not see Metallica as the first supplement.
You know, I did not expect that.
You'd expect Mars, but expectations did not align.
That's okay. I mean, Metallica
got cool rules. So
Metallica got cool rules.
Disagree.
We'd be bad. But yeah, it was an interesting choice for sure. Paint the eye lenses on these helmets.
That's a Mark Perry. That is a Mark Perry right there.
Hey, he is doing a clinic later on in the Warm today. He's going to be teaching people some chaos.
All the chaos jank. When you run 6x5 breachers, would you consider playing a unit of 2 Tetras instead of 5 scouts with the grab and the recon? I take the Pathfinders solely because I get access to the grab drone. That's the reason I take them. Also, they have a 1 CP strat to move 2d6 instead of shooting, and that actually won me the game against Nyx Harlequins and Drukhari.
Ha! Clutch.
So, I mean, in the context of when I did it, turn 2, didn't, but like overall,
Yeah.
with how close the game was, I needed a play like that. So they can actually provide plays. They're not there for marker lights, I'll tell you that.
Poor
They're
Pathfinders.
not there for marker lights. But giving access to the grab drone and being able to use that to contest objectives, 100% behind that.
I like it.
No.
Can they charge after that 2d6 move? Okay.
They can't shoot or charge. They give up shooting, and then you can't charge.
But they could advance into it.
Yes, so they move advance, and then you move 2d6.
It's pretty speedy right
Yeah,
there.
so they disembark, move 7, get a decent advance roll, move 2d6 again. So,
I'm gonna let Marco.
okie doke. I think we need to see you guys play the Art of War Blood Angel Discord list, Bad White Scars on stream. It's a lot of good results beating people who are trying to beat Drukhari, just can't do it themselves. Yeah, give us a list. Lyle. What's up, Mark?
What up?
Mark is here. He has chaos, and he is praying to the Chaos Gods right now.
Always praying to the chaos.
Praying to the Chaos Gods for Chaos Orcs, which is his favorite Xenos faction that doesn't have rules right now.
Absolutely. Need more chaos arcs.
If you had to take Necron anti-tank to a tournament, which would you pick? Why?
I
would
would
skip-
Tesseract Arc best.
I would skip the anti-tank if I could, but if I had to, it would be Gauss Reaper Immortal Warriors with the Silent King. If I had to take actual anti-tank, then it would have to be probably the Tesseract Arcs, because at least they're durable.
Yeah.
And they can get angles.
Yep. Those are pluses, even if it also comes with negatives.
Yep. I mean, inconsistency. I hear Fallen is super good. Any ideas? Are you trolling?
I have seen the White Dwarf Fallen rules, and I've seen 2 pages of it, and maybe there are more pages to be seen, but they looked absolutely awful.
I think they're copy pasta there.
They are a copy pasta.
Yeah, so no. I think Richard
I think
Hughes is
there's
trolling us there,
there's a lot of room for Fallen to be good, and they chose not to do that.
which is good, because why let Chaos have good things?
We'll see. I actually love Fallen. I think that they could be a really cool army. Like, that could be a really fun hobby project, I think. Like, get a bunch of, like, the 30k Dark Angel models, work them into, like, Fallen Chaos army. That could be very good looking. However, I'm not really interested in that until they have playable rules. Just because there's so many different cool armies you can do in 40k. I need a reason to really go after them.
Could something like the Craft Crusader Knight catch people off guard, or would it just get blasted off the table?
It could definitely catch some people off guard. A lot of people are bringing up the kind of weapons that are not necessarily anti-knight. I still think that the Megara is much better than a Crusader in literally all ways. So I would rather it be that, like a Craft Megara, than a Craft Crusader. But just a single ally knight could catch people off guard if they're not ready for it. However, I think that people have started to acknowledge that knights have play, even if they're not an amazing army. I think we're at the point where everyone realizes knights are actually very playable. So most people are probably starting to be mentally and, army list prepared for a night or two.
However, it doesn't help knights that people are prepared to kill 4 or 5 Drukhari transports a turn.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of firepower that they want in the meta.
No.
Knights feed off of you having to split your weapon profiles. Take some anti-horde, a little bit of anti-tank, some medium weapons. That's what knights like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
They prey on those kind of lists.
Anytime you try to counter the meta too hard, just be aware that a knight player could show up. Round 1 knights, that could just happen.
And it has happened.
It has happened.
Round 2, Magnus Morty and a knight.
Yep. You gotta be ready for these things.
Who is the strongest player in the Art of War team, and why it isn't Nick?
Why is it Nick?
Why isn't it?
Aw. I mean, Nick is
No,
legit.
they're saying why wouldn't it be Nick?
I don't know. I was saying all for Nick. Maybe
Yeah.
it is.
No, that you interpreted wrong. Like, give him reasons why it isn't Nick.
It's because he has to rely on this Drukhari crutch. Silly Drukhari.
Lack of screening.
Love the screening.
It's the screening every time.
Ripper's in the corner, baby.
I'm taking over your corner.
Is it doing anything? No. Did it bother him? Yes.
It was cool.
It was cool.
It forced the slit to go back there.
I thought that would be enough to get like the witch squad like out of the game, and then they still charged me. I was like literally went in the corner, then got in a boat, then charged me literally on like 40 inches away. And it's like, Drukhari.
This army's strong.
Yeah, its army is strong.
In your opinion, what are the best troops for Space Wolves? Grey Hunters with chainswords and the Terminator Pack Leader with Thunderhammer Storm Shield, 142 points.
The Grey Hunters are really not bad. I still just like Primaris troops personally, but Grey Hunters are pretty darn good just because you get the bolter and the chainsword. So yeah, maybe it is the Grey Hunters actually. Grey Hunters are just Incursors Infiltrators.
Yeah.
Are probably going to be my pick.
Running Pure Craft World, how many Raiders should I be able to kill?
Turn
Turn 1?
all the ones in line of sight, and also one that isn't.
Night Spinners.
I think 2 Night Spinners should get a Raider pretty consistently.
Yeah.
One for one is a little optimistic, but it's not impossible. It's one of those things, if you kind of roll decent on the number of shots, all of a sudden it happens. But you don't plan on it happening.
Gluing some Sisters of Silence now. What would you like to see from them in the new Custodes Codex?
Troop choice that you have to take 1 Custodes core unit to unlock a Sister Silence.
Yep. But
I don't want a battalion of 3 sister squads and Trajan and a shield captain, nothing else. But I don't think we need 3 troop squads in a
3 Custodians.
3
Like,
Custodes.
how many of that Custodians are actually being deployed in one situation?
Yeah.
Do multiple large Beast and Nurgle units have a place in the meta? Seems pretty hard to shift from objectives.
100% yes. It's very good into Drukhari. I think Steven Mitchell went like 2-1 against Drukhari at the Cool Place Spring GT, the one that I owned with Ultramarines, with a very Beast of Nurgle heavy list. He's beaten Nick Nonabody with it before, with the current Dark Elder Codex. So lots of power on that list for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of beef.
It's a lot of beef. Who has the beef? The beasts have the beef.
Yeah. And the Great Unclean One.
Yeah, he's a beefcake for sure.
He's revoltingly resilient.
Beefcake.
Those new canicles look amazing for Raven Knight thanks to the Carcharodon book.
Mm-hmm.
They could be pretty...
Thank you.
I opened 2 separate of my null oils, and I don't know... Oh, the other one's up here.
There's always more null oil.
It's a specialist attachment, so the Fallen that is. Yeah, and it looks to be some old rules kind of
Yeah, that's what I saw some scans of it yesterday, but perhaps it's better than I think. I don't know. It just looked like it was like the exact same thing as before, and for some reason they have a force sword the relic force sword that is lower strength than a normal force sword. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna take that.
How long ago was this written?
Exactly.
This has been a yes.
Yeah, it's a
there's
strength.
an
It's a
actual
strength
copy
user
pasta.
force sword, and I'm like, oh come on, like every force sword is strength 5 right now, every one.
Yeah.
Except for this one.
That's what happens when you bring 8th edition rules straight into 9th.
It does look that way.
Did they think nobody would notice?
I don't know. And then the one of their strats is Dark Angel specific, and the other one is not great. And then the Aura of Discord ability from Cypher, it seems so much worse than like a lot of the disruption auras in 9th right now. So his rule is that he has an aura that varies based on how many fallen units are with him, and it goes like 12, 18, 24, whatever. And enemy units in that aura cannot use any abilities to gain or regenerate CP. Which is like kind of cool, but also like,
They put restrictions on that already.
yeah, like there's already restrictions on that. Like, and how many armies actually have that right now? Like Drukhari don't regen CP. Most Marines don't. I think Ultramarines are the only one. An Inquisitor and a Guard character, like that's it. And the Guard character so far, this doesn't matter.
Purotide Engram chip, baby.
Oh yeah, I forgot Tower of Faction. I'll do it again. I don't know. It just seems like I would expect like a no aura or something. No, not just no CP regen. Right?
Yeah. Especially because you gain 1 at the start of your turn, regardless.
Exactly. So I'm not super enthused about the Fallen rules that I saw, but perhaps they're better than I think. Maybe Mark Perry's gonna win with Fallen.
He's busting out the Fallen.
I would love to see it, genuinely. I really would. I say this unironically, I would love to see Mark Perry run Fallen.
What roster can they take from?
They can take the Fallen unit, they can take a Rhino, they can take a Sorcerer, and they can take Cypher. Cool. They have 4 units.
Powerful.
Yep, and their data sheet was unchanged. It's still the same data sheet as the
One Moon Marine?
Oh yeah, there's one.
Cool.
Yep. So there's still the same data sheet as in the Chaos Space Marine Codex.
Yeah. There could have been nice updated
There
9th
could have
edition
been.
Fallen rules, but there are not.
There are not. Yeah, I was stunned that they did not update the data sheet for the Fallen in this book. I really thought that's what was going to happen.
It honestly must have been the case of like, oh, we don't actually have anything for this month yet. So quick, somebody grab something people forgot about. The Fallen rules in 8th edition.
I did forget about them. You're right on
Copy
that.
pasta.
Yeah, they copy possibly.
Oh, poor Games Workshop.
Poor Fallen. Both Fallen players are very sad about this White Dwarf. Both of them.
And they previewed it like it was actually gonna.
Yeah, they're like, he's on the cover. Like, Cypher's looking cool. No,
At least he's looking cool. That's
he is looking cool, but he's not quite doing it for me.
What we got here? How are these little infantrymen coming along?
Oh, they're coming along well.
Death Watch.
I think I'm actually going to touch up the bodies with the airbrush one more time, so I'll probably do that after the paint stream. So for right now, I'm thinking I'm just their helmets are looking good though, so I'm just doing a little bit of detail work. This is how I paint helmets. This is a tree on which I grow my painted helmets. Because I don't like painting them when they're attached to the head. It's just always hard to get those right details, I find. You got that Retributor gold somewhere?
It should be right here.
Thank you. It's always hard to pick it up because it's not gold from the top.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a little bit of gold detail on there. Like the skulls on the helmets and stuff.
The skulls.
They do like putting like little tiny skull logos on the helmets. So you just gotta touch some gold onto it.
Working on these missile pods.
Missile pods. Are there always more missiles in Tau? There always are. There's always more missiles.
I'm gonna stay safe.
Gotta
Gotta
hide.
keep my while we standing.
That's unnecessary.
This Troll Slayer orange is really thin.
Yeah, it is a very thin paint. I tried to thin it,
Thin.
like I tried to I put some on my palette. I started thinning it, and it turned into water. I'm like,
Yep. It's
I'm just gonna use it out of the box.
gonna be a slow process right here.
Yeah, I think I did like 2 layers of it.
Chaos gets some love. Do you think World Eaters or Emperor's Children will get their own books? Probably eventually.
I believe so, and I believe that they should. I genuinely believe that they should.
Overall, Games Workshop has been on a real Slanesh kick, so it would not surprise me if Emperor's Children were a thing.
And also, they've hinted at the return of both of those Primarchs. Angron is literally on the ground in 40k lore right now. He is on planets. He is killing people. He is back. For some reason, they're just focusing on the campaigns that don't involve him, which to me, I really was expecting Armageddon to be the first campaign book of 9th edition, and I was wrong. It was Caradon. But I was really thinking, like, yeah, they're going to do, like, once they had, like, a plastic Gaz, I'm like, oh, yeah, they're going to do a Warzone, like, Armageddon. They're going to introduce a Demon Angron. They're going to have Orcs play heavy part in it because they got a new Gaz. Like, they'll do a plastic Yarick. I was like, this will be great. Whole thing, this will be awesome. Black Templars get a Codex.
Forge World Metallica, baby.
It was, like, I really thought this was going to be the thing. Like, you introduce Demon Primarch Angron. You get plastic Yarick and a Guard Codex, Black Templars and their Codex supplement because they need one. You can work it into the campaign again. I really thought that this was going to be the thing, and it just isn't. I was like, oh, so disappointing. So they were setting it up. They were like, yeah, there's whispers of Angron coming back. And then like 6 months later, Angron's on Armageddon now. This is just a thing. And for some reason, they're just not exploring it at all. Just like, there's just like one line of, yep, Armageddon, the planet that we already did a campaign on like 20 years ago. There's a Demon Primarch there now. No big deal. Just Demon Angron is back. No new rules, no new models, no mentions. Just like, yeah, Angron, whatever, he's back.
Our Caradon is the major Warzone.
Warzone Caradon.
Caradon.
Car Caradon. Space Shark chapter, who I love very much. Let's get I think we can stick to Red Islands.
Are you guys hoping for any specific changes in the next mission pack in late 2021?
Whenever it comes out, I would love to see. I'd love a lot of things actually. I like the primary system they have now. I'm okay with that. I really want mission secondaries to get a category, so that you can't take domination and hold the center.
You don't want a free.
It's free 30. Yeah, I don't like that. As a matter of fact. I really don't.
What about the magical 3-turn 15 on priority targets?
You know what? That was pretty impressive. Let's be honest. I knew I was only holding mine for 3 turns, so I had to make the most out of it. Which is true. I would have gotten 0s on turn 4 or 5. And it was great. Taking that one back from Nick denied him his priority targets. Really, if he hadn't wiped out that Hormigaunt squad, that could have been a game changer right there.
The mission secondaries need to be rethought. Like,
yeah,
there's
some
no
of them are
internal-
terrible.
The ones on Dawn of War are pretty much impossible. Like, one of them is you actually have to stay on the objectives in your opponent's deployment zone until your next command phase.
Yeah.
At what? You get like 4 points out of it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, am I just straight up? What are they playing like 500 points against my 2,000? What's going on?
Yeah, you're playing Drakari against their not Drakari, and that's
Yeah,
actually
it's-
good.
The Drakari can actually score that one, funnily enough. Not easily, but late game, sure. So I would like to see some internal balance between the mission secondaries.
Me too.
That would be awesome. In addition, some of the secondaries you'd never see us take. Nobody has yet taken teleport homers on this channel.
That's true. I even took Slay
think it's
the
the
Warlord
only
once. I've taken Slay the Warlord once against Mortarion. I regretted it deeply.
Cut off
But I
that has
tried it.
happened.
Yeah, that one.
Investigation sites very early on. Nick actually tried that and realized that oops.
Yeah, that was
it's so easy for
we
your
learned
opponent.
in game why we don't take it, and we're like, oh, interesting. He like got it the first turn, and I'm like, man, like that's so good. How do I stop that? He's like, you can't. I'm like, let me read this. I'm like, I can. He's like, oh no.
Oh no, this is actually terrible.
Yeah.
Just have a unit in the center. Oh,
Yeah, I was like,
my
I just
God.
move. Done. It's like there's one card right here.
So that's a bad one. Honestly, I would like some of the action ones to be a little less punishing. So the ones where you can't start them if there are enemy models in range, I think you should get half the amount of points, or something else so you get partial amount of points for that. I think it's a little too punishing compared to some other secondaries.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'd make them a little more, a little more
more
incentive to
palatable.
take them. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. They just seem very all or nothing. There's like I can't take any action secondaries against Drukhari because they're just going to be on my
Yeah,
half of the
you
board the whole
get
game.
a-
So
And can you imagine getting like a 1 on Raise the Banners?
yeah, and it's just they touch the objective with like the edge of the base, and you can't do it. Like
Yep.
I think you should be able to. Like if you outnumber the enemy on the objective, you should be able to start it. Something.
Yeah.
Change it in some small way to make them a little easier. I would like that change. Because I genuinely like the action system of having to give up doing something important to do this other important thing.
What about a generic stratagem to perform an action at the end of your turn instead of the end of your movement phase?
Could
Like after you shoot things away? I don't know.
I don't know, maybe
Something?
I'd like them to think about that for sure. Like John said, I think the primary is pretty good. Some of the missions are not good.
Yeah.
So
But the primary system itself, I'm okay with.
yeah, I like the primary system. Some of the missions are either way too easy or very, very difficult. Like the scouring, you're getting your opponent, and you were probably getting around the 40s, low 50s,
So bad, yeah.
because you just keep giving each other zeros.
Scouring and overrun is like,
And then overrun is also very difficult. So I
you
like.
either go to 45 or a 10.
Whereas priority targets and sweep and clear, you're both fighting, or direct assault, you're both fighting for like 90-point wins.
Yeah.
It's so. I'd like a little more balance between those extremes.
Yeah, it definitely skews the tournament.
Yeah,
I think is the
you
thing,
just-
which may not be. It's supposed to be. I mean, it's a GT pack.
It's the GT pack.
Yeah, it's true. It
That should be a concern.
really should be. Yeah, because like you know what often comes up is like
When you say it like that.
if the game that you lose, like if you get your hard game on the scouring, you lose and you get 20 points.
Yep.
And if you get your hard game on priority target, you lose and you get 75 points.
Yep.
And it's like what round you took your loss is a massive impact on scoring.
Or even if you win on the scouring, but you win very narrowly,
That can
but
take
somebody else played an easier opponent and just got just
Like
wrecked
which
there.
one you had your close game on, which one you had your hard game on.
Yeah. So now they're way up at the top of the standings, and they're gonna finish first for top 8 and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. So, retooling my white scars, dropped the apothecary, and added a chapter champion, buffed up. Is he worth it?
I do like the chapter champion. I don't think he's better than the apothecary.
Landspeeder, Storm, and War Gear
I like
as
the
another
Landspeeder's
option to use those points.
Yeah, I would. I mean, dropping an apothecary hurts. White Scars really like the apothecary, but the chapter champion's good. It's just it's hard to justify him. If you're taking a foot slogging character, I feel like the apothecary is just the best one.
Love John's Ultra list. Main question is, what from Ultras makes it the choice? Trying something similar with Wolves. Curious what's missing.
It's the redeploy and it's the aura synergies is the big thing. Like having access to the Seal of Oath, Buddy Overwatch, and the redeploy is actually massive. It makes a huge difference in the army. Just lets it get a really good aggressive footing on turn 1 to compensate for the lack of speed, or be very safe on turn 2 so that you can make a late game comeback.
What do you think about the artifact of Arthas Moloch and being able to deny a psychic power can be very useful. The Enclave Neurochip is tasty too. I prefer taking the Neurochip overall because the Tau have some very good 1 CP strats, and I'd like to use them as many times as possible. It also comes with a free reroll, so not bad extra bonus. So I prefer the Neurochip. CP is how Tau does a lot of its efficient damage.
Yep.
The deny, yes. I mean, I've denied Magnus rolled to 11 on Warp Time, and I denied on Boxcars in a game on stream. So I know how powerful the Talisman is. However, I'm not as worried about people picking Psychic secondaries because a lot of them are very difficult. Like if they pick Pierce the Veil, I'm going to throw little units over in that side of the board so they can't start the action. If they pick Psychic Ritual in the middle, I want to fight over the middle. So they're going to be right there with their character trying to do it. And they have to do it for 3 turns in a row. That's not easy with the
No,
amount
not
of
at all.
firepower that's coming at them. So I don't mind if they take a Psychic secondary. And now for other powers, it'd be great to potentially deny like a play like Warp Time. But at the end of the day, honestly, I like armies coming close to me. Like Tau are really a mid-range army, so the closer you get to them, the more damage I can just pile on.
What about using Warp Time to run away?
Run away. Good. Stay away from these objectives. What do you think is the worst mission?
I dislike the scouring a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Scouring is certainly in the top 3.
Yeah.
Overrun is up there.
I love Vital Intelligence. I know some people dislike Vital Intelligence. I love Vital
I
Intelligence.
think Vital Intelligence is a little too swingy.
It is very swingy.
I think they should take away the you hold the objective in the command phase from that mission.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think if they do that, it puts less emphasis on the first turn.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it's a battle between Scouring and Overrun. I think Priority Targets and Direct Assault are also bad missions because their mission secondaries are too easy. But that can be solved by not changing the mission entirely.
Yeah.
Like I like pulling the objectives in Priority Targets.
I do like that element.
I just don't like that the secondary is just get 15 points unless you get tabled early.
Yeah, I know.
So that just means that it's very different from a lot of the other missions where you struggle to pick a secondary. So, it'll be less of a concern when everybody gets faction specific secondaries.
Yeah.
I don't mind priority targets when playing like a army like Tau, which doesn't have an easy third one sometimes.
I like it because it lets some of the older books
Yeah.
have games where they can stand up with it. Like, I conceptually, I liked it at first because, like, when Space Marines had theirs, it's like, Space Marines have their 3 secondaries no matter what. Now Tau and Guard have theirs, so this is an edge. But then it's like, it became like Dark Angels on Priority Target is literally just write down 45.
Yep.
Like, go ahead. They're playing primary now. Their secondaries are done. It's like, okay, this is no longer cool.
Yeah. What are you thinking for Deathwatch here, John? What's the
5 Dreadnoughts. I like stomping robots.
Dreadnoughts characters, bunch of kill teams.
Bunch of kill teams. Still trying to figure out the optimal kill team. But right now I'm leaning towards shotgun vets and some biker boys.
But John's going to be playing them on stream when they are finished painted.
As soon as they are finished painted, we will get them on stream, I promise.
Got a super chat from Matt. Oh, thank you so much, Matt. Last random sisters question. Worth looking into heavy flamer mortifiers or cheaper, tougher penitent engines to hang in the backfield or outflank?
Penitent or engines 100% for me. I think that they're awesome. Being 5 wounds, 5 skill and pain is a great profile for not being one-shot by a Dark Lance, which just makes them extremely annoying for Dark Elder to deal with because there's always something more important to Liquefier.
And they hit hard in melee, too.
And they hit very hard in melee. They overwatch well, which Dark Elder can ignore Overwatch, but they can only do it in one place at a time, and suddenly it gets annoying.
Yep.
And just a 2-man squad is enough to kill any Drukhari infantry they touch. And frankly, the transports too most of the time.
How many points are there?
Penitent engine is 50 points.
It's not bad.
It's very good.
That's very reasonable.
I actually, if I were playing Sisters right now, I would probably have 6 on my list. Yeah. Just units of 2.
Yeah, get them in your sisters list.
I would. If I play Sisters before the new codex, they would probably be in it.
Thanks again for that super chat, Matt. Get your penitent engines.
Get your penitent engines.
Using battle points alone, though, opens up a whole different can of worms,
Right.
which is what happened in Sweden, where somebody had lost to another player, and the player that had lost that game actually finished up first because they had overall more battle points. That does open up a risk on tournaments where there's, where you would technically have one undefeated, but they were outscored in other matches. So there's definitely limitations to each different system for tournament scoring. Are you guys previewing codexes yet? AdMech live reaction. We do not have preview copies. We applied to Games Workshop. We have not heard back from them. So that hopefully we get approved for the GW copies. But right now, very unlikely that we're getting the AdMech book. Hopefully for the next Sisters and Orcs, whenever they get their books, that we'll be able to do the early codex reviews. So fingers crossed for that. How many Remoras is enough Remoras? There's never enough Remoras. That's how good they are. They're amazing screening. They put out a lot of volume of fire. They're annoying to deal with. They're super fast. Guaranteed H points. Get yourself some Remoras.
Remora drones! You gotta get the Remora drones. Everyone knows that.
Which dreads in Deathwatch?
Redemptors and Contemptors. Those are Just things that have core.
Just the best dreadnoughts.
The ones that have core are the answer to that question. Core makes a big difference there.
But John does run Invictor Warsuits in his Ultramarines list.
I do, yeah. That's where that redeploy really comes in.
Yep. Not core, but good for
Mm-hmm.
sacrificial lambs.
Yeah, just good to have. I should look at the box knots and see how cheap they are. Because they're core. I wonder if they're cheap enough. Be cool to
How
like, bust
cheap
out an
is-
ironclad.
How cheap is cheap?
110 or less.
I don't know how many points.
I don't either. That's why I'm like wondering. Like an ironclad, if it's like 110 or so, 120, like I could take that. Which would be mighty interesting, I think. Mighty interesting.
What about war gear that lets a model in the unit do the action while the rest can shoot? There are strats like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marines have a 2CP strat like that, which is very cool. I think it's an interesting mechanic.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that in the future there'll be more ways to interact with actions. 'Cause, introducing it, they probably just want to start off with basic stuff. But I think I'm ready to see them expand on that.
Yeah. The
That
biggest
design
limitation for me is that you can't. There are some that you just can't do it when there are enemy models in range of the objective,
Yeah.
which is
It's bad enough that
very.
you have to be infantry or non-character and like do all
Yeah.
this stuff.
But now a fast army like Drukhari makes it so I can't take this. That's I don't agree with that. Especially because they're just like toe in, put a model on the objective.
Yeah, there's a
Consolidate
spike of a raider over my objective, and now I can't do my mission. It's like, oh, cool. That's fun. Those darn raider spikes causing all kinds of problems.
Why do we have to have transports that are like, 12 inches long?
Yeah, that is a problem right there.
Has John played the Ultramarines list going second into Dark Eldar?
I have not yet. I've only played into Dark Eldar once with the Ultramarines, and I did happen to go first in that game. It's definitely something I want to practice before I go to another big tournament, though, because I agree that's something to be considered. But I think that it still has play going second, which is very important to me.
Have you thought about more than one squad of company vets for White Scars? Lightning Claw, Storm Shield, 3-mans have been super useful for me.
I have thought about it. I just haven't quite fit them into the list yet. But they are very good, so I'm not opposed to adding more company veterans.
Box Dreadnoughts are like 120, Ironclads 140.
140. That is too
That's-
close to a Contemptor. That's too close.
10 more points and I get awesome shooting? Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. A Contemptor's 140 is the thing.
Yeah, the base one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little dreads aren't that cheap.
I was hoping for like 110.
Any predictions on the role abilities of the Skitarii Marshal? I hope
Maybe
it's...
he'll let you ignore the negatives of your doctrine imperatives. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would make sense. Hopefully it's something useful.
Or like,
Prefer not having more cybernetic data smiths.
yeah, just because they're introducing a new character into a mechanic at the same time, I would just bet that he interacts with the mechanic.
And it's a Skitarii mechanic.
Yeah. Since he's a Skitarii Marshal, he probably buffs Skitarii. I wonder if the imperatives are going to be like a turn-wide thing, or if you pick one for one unit.
Or
Like, maybe it's
Necrons
like-
where you have to pick them in advance.
Maybe. But then maybe the Marshal lets you have one unit within 6 inches in your command phase, choose a different imperative than the active one.
Where you get to pick from 2 of them.
Yeah,
knows?
that'd be cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine he would try and help manipulate those. But we will
That's
see.
my guess.
I wish they were previewing them off instead of Crusade rules tomorrow.
Maybe Friday they'll show them off.
Based off the newest AdMech preview, is Mars the best?
They definitely don't look bad.
They definitely look like they're in the top 3.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're looking great.
Them and Metallica both still look really strong. And then Styges did not get really worse there. They look interesting. Although I actually prefer the I don't think that they're quite as good as current, because their scout stuff doesn't work on any vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't know how infantry heavy you want to get.
It will depend on, look at the points of these infantry and what you can do.
Mhm.
But it's possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Why is it that only infantry can do actions, but every single thing in the game can prevent actions?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer.
Wonderful question.
I don't know.
There are some actions you can do with anything, like strategic scan,
Yeah, which I actually
which is also very difficult to score because all the objectives are in the center.
Yep.
Your opponent's like, nope.
Okay. Get some glow on those eyes.
So, I don't know. I would like them to just revisit actions in general and just think of some ways to make them,
Yeah, a little more interesting.
yeah, a little more. They're too all or nothing right now, I think.
I could agree
They're
with
a
that.
little too inflexible. Any thoughts on the AdMech previews? Cool Canicles plus 2 to hits guitar, 2 to hits Guitari. Yeah, all of it looked great. I like all of that. I think these are more impressive than the Forge Worlds, honestly. So
Yeah, I think it's just really good rules being shown off today.
Yep. And that's basically what you want, is the core AdMech stuff to be very strong.
Yes.
So I think
Well, that's what you want.
I think
that's what we want.
both Doctrines and Canicles are going to be very strong and powerful. So
For sure.
that's a great place for AdMech to be in. And it looks like most of their profiles are getting updated to be stronger. So don't expect many points changes. I think AdMech are going to be in a great spot. What I really am hoping for is that we get multiple builds out of the AdMech Codex
That is
instead of
definitely
one like clear kind of.
This
Here's
is
the
way,
archetype. Yeah. That's what you don't want. Did the articles imply that Doctrines come from HQs?
I didn't pick up on that.
I don't remember.
Maybe
seeing
I'd have to reread it though.
Yeah. I'll read it more closely later. Infiltrating a block of 12 2-up breachers on the middle objective for 1 CP is pretty hilarious.
That is definitely very good.
Yep.
That would definitely be very good.
And then the good thing about actions is they aren't as bad as psychic actions. That is true. That is true.
There is that.
Psychic actions they're not horrendous.
I think
but,
they're less than would be the actions, I think.
The psychic ritual is a reasonable thing.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
you
that's
wouldn't pick
very
it in
good.
every matchup.
Definitely not. You
And-
don't want it to be there.
Yeah, and also because they can be denied. That's the big risk, is if they have denies.
That is definitely riskier.
So, overall, I mean, who knows when we're going to get updated rules. I hope Games Workshop are taking feedback in stride and just putting it towards, really stress testing a updated mission packet. So, what I really want more than updated missions is updated points for the game.
Oh, I
once
would love to see that. Yeah.
Like, in the context of Drukhari and stuff, how cheap things are,
Yeah.
they really need to revisit some of the older factions, especially while they're waiting for codexes.
Couldn't agree more.
So hopefully that's what we get. Anyway, thank you everybody for hanging out with us today. Really appreciate everybody's support. We are going to be back tomorrow with 2 different games.
2 different games.
The first one is going to be me playing my updated Tau list. I've got Shazo Raleigh here. He's going to be hanging out in that game. Going up against the brand new Art of War coach, Jack Harpster, a very experienced tournament player. He is playing Chaos into my Tau. He's going to go for that Mortal Spam list.
Very
We're
exciting.
going to see how that works for him. And then in the War Room, we are doing a brand new thing, a tournament stress testing session where John and I are going to run some killer potential ACO lists into Nick Nanavati playing his Drukhari list. Can he handle the 6-flyer Metallica build for AdMech? Can he handle the Ultramarines and their just supreme firepower? We're going to find out.
I'm really interested to see how Nick responds to that.
Yep, and if it can't, we're going to find out what he thinks about where Drukhari fits into the ACO meta. So, tune in for that.
Well, all right.
Thanks everybody for hanging out, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
So long, have a great one.
Competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week, we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision-making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.